Welcome to MRS Bulletin Society News. My name is Gopal Rao. I'm the Chief Editor for Technical Content with the Materials Research Society and also editor of MRS Bulletin. I'm very pleased today to be talking with Dr. Carolyn Duran, the current president of the Materials Research Society. Dr. Duran is Vice President and Engineering Manager of Process Engineering and External Partnerships in Components Research at Intel Corporation. In addition, she's an adjunct professor of Material Science and Engineering at Northwestern University. So Carolyn, welcome and thank you for talking with me today. Our focus today is on a very important topic, the MRS publications portfolio of our 5 major journals: the Journal of Materials Research, JMR, MRS Advances, MRS Bulletin, MRS Communications, and MRS Energy and Sustainability. And I should note here that I am the editor of MRS Bulletin. So first of all, Carolyn, what is the importance of the MRS publication program and also the MRS journals portfolio to MRS?
Well, Gopal, first of all, thank you for having me here, and I'm happy to talk about this. I think, for the MRS and certainly for our membership, which is why we're here in the first place, the portfolio journal is very important. We've had a nearly 50-year reputation, so 49 years, as a leader in disseminating those innovative, high-quality, interdisciplinary materials research through our publications and our meetings. And so as we're moving forward, this portfolio is really furthering our strategic plan to advance member careers, that means you, right, by providing these forums to both present and publish the research and to promote those materials research and innovations that we care so much about.
So the impact factor of MRS journals, which is a very critical measure these days for journals as a whole, and for MRS journals and for those that are currently tracked, the impact factor certainly reached new heights in 2021. I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on that and talk more about the publications.
Sure, absolutely. This is something that we as a society had recognized as a place in which we could focus and improve, again, aligned to our membership needs and desires. And so first of all, I want to encourage all of you to publish in these journals. We are seeing that uptick in the impact factor, as Gopal, as you had said. And I think that we have a strategic vision on how we can get even further. It becomes a virtuous cycle as we increase our content, and with our strategic publishing agreement with Springer Nature, which started last year, we're already seeing some of the benefits of that partnership, bringing the experience and expertise that Springer Nature has to the strategic growth. And so we are on this upswing, and by keeping that momentum and encouraging all of you to publish in our journals, we think that we have goals and aspirations to double and even triple our impact factor over the next few years. This alliance definitely advances our mission and our aspirations, and it makes sure that our members at all career stages can publish their most important and timely work for both an international and interdisciplinary audience.
Now, the Journal of Materials Research, or JMR, of course, is MRS's oldest archival publication, and it has there's been a major new transition there. So JMR now has a new editor-in-chief, Professor Ramamurthy Ramesh of the University of California, Berkeley. Can you talk a little bit about his taking on this important role for MRS?
Yes, of course. I think I want to start, though, that we'd had Gary Messing as our editor-in-chief for this journal for about 13 years, and he had brought a lot of stability and high-quality content to the journal. And so I want to start by thanking him again for his service to the MRS for that time. But that being said, I'm also very excited to have Ramesh on board. He has some strong ideas about how we can, again, address the impact factors and improve our continue to improve and strengthen our journal portfolio across all the journals, partnering with the others editors-in-chief. So I'm excited about the vision and the passion that he's bringing to the role, and really happy to have him on board in this. He's been a long time contributor, of course, to the MRS, but having him in this role is a real pleasure.
Absolutely. I'll second that. I've known Ramesh for a while, and I'm very excited to be working alongside him as a colleague. And as
I've known him since
editor
graduate school, so 27, well, I'd hate to say how many years, but many. So.
Now, MRS Advances is one of our newer journals, and I understand it's going to be working with Africa MRS to publish papers from their annual conference this year. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about this important collaboration.
Absolutely. So this is one that has actually been ongoing. It is not the first year, but we've been successfully collaborating with Africa MRS, and MRS Advances has been publishing the quality content from this meeting for a number of years. This is one effort of amongst many to help establish our presence more internationally and bring in diverse viewpoints and diverse research from places that might be less straightforward. And by so doing, we utilize MRS Advances not only for Africa MRS, but for the international publishing collaborations across a number of peer societies and conferences. Another one to bring out is the IMRC meeting that's held annually in Cancun, and that's another means by which we can really establish and strengthen that international presence across geos and bring the voices of those researchers to this membership.
It's certainly a very important effort indeed. Now, of course, the MRS publications program goes beyond journals. We also have had a books publishing effort ongoing for some time, but I understand we now have a new MRS premium books publishing program. And I was wondering if you could elaborate on that a little bit.
Absolutely. This is another thing that has come out of our new strategic engagement with Springer Nature. It's called the Materials Research Society series, and it's a premium series within that Springer Books portfolio. And so this series is set up to cover the multidisciplinary field of materials research and technology, and it publishes across chemistry, physics, biology, and engineering. The focus is on premium textbooks, professional books, monographs, references, and other works that serve the broad material science and engineering community worldwide. And it's really focused on connecting the principles of structure, properties, processing, and performance, and employing the tools of characterization, computation, and fabrication. And it addresses both established, well, not both, but established, novel, and emerging topics. And so if you are interested, we are actively seeking proposals. And so Steve Moss, who's the chair of the MRS Books editorial board, and Springer Nature's commissioning editors would welcome any kind of discussion about your ideas. So please reach out to them if you're interested. I'm excited that we're taking this next step with Springer Nature.
Excellent. Now, before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts on the MRS publications or the portfolio?
Once again, I'd like to really emphasize that we are encouraging all of you to consider and actively pursue publishing in MRS journals. Our portfolio has different formats and options depending on the kind of research you do. We're on this upward positive path of an increasing impact factor, and our expectation and goal is to keep that moving forward. So take a look, and we'd really want you to see about publishing at least one paper in an MRS journal this year.
Outstanding. And as an MRS editor and on behalf of my fellow editors, I will sort of second that and encourage everyone to publish with us, certainly. Thank you, Carolyn, for talking with me today.
It's my pleasure. Happy to be here.
Again, my name is Gopal Rao from the Materials Research Society. For more news, please visit the MRS Bulletin website at mrsbulletin.org. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at MRS Bulletin. Thanks again to Dr. Duran, and thank you for watching.